Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. Okay, so we'll start with the Great Mother and go into meditation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I go for refuge to the source, consciousness, and its divine names. I go for refuge to the messengers and the realizations and the realized ones. I go for refuge to the Lama, the teachings, and the community. Through my wholehearted devotion to love and truth, may my false self vanish into the source, and may I be a servant of the divine will. Yahu, Yahu, Ya Daim, Yahu, Yahu, Ya Qudus. O Allah and your holy messengers, Lord Jesus Christ, Mohammed, peace be upon him, Lord Buddha, I turn my heart to you and request your blessings. Empower me with truth, wisdom, and insight. Homage to the perfection of wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Thus did I hear at one time. The Blessed One was residing on Vulture Peak Mountain at Rajagriha, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time the Blessed One rested in an absorption on the categories of phenomena called illumination of the profound. At the same time the Bodhisattva, great being, noble Avalokiteshvara, while practicing the profound perfection of wisdom, looked and saw that the five aggregates are also empty of an intrinsic nature. Then, due to the Buddha's power, Venerable Sariputra asked the Bodhisattva, great being, noble Avalokiteshvara, how should sons or daughters of noble family train if they wish to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? The Bodhisattva, great being, noble Avalokiteshvara, replied to Venerable Sariputra, Sariputra, sons or daughters of noble family who wish to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should see things in this way. They should correctly observe also the five aggregates to be empty of an intrinsic nature. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, and form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are empty. Sariputra, therefore, all phenomena are emptiness. They are without characteristics, unborn, unceasing, without stains, without absence of stains, not deficient and not complete. Sariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formations, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no texture, and no mental object. There is no element of the eye up to no element of the mind, and further up to no element of the mind consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, up to no aging and death, and no exhaustion of aging and death. There is no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Sariputra, therefore, since bodhisattvas have no attainment, they rely upon and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. Because their minds have no veils, they have no fear. Having utterly gone beyond error, they reach the culmination of nirvana. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times have likewise fully awakened to unsurpassed and perfect awakening by relying upon the perfection of wisdom. Therefore the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that is equal to the unequaled, and the mantra that utterly pacifies all suffering. Since it is not false, it should be known to be true. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is stated thus, Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisoha. Sariputra, this is the way a bodhisattva, great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that absorption and gave his approval to the bodhisattva, great being, noble Avalokiteshvara. Good, O son of the lineage, it is like that. Since it is like that, as revealed, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and even the thus gone ones, the Tathagatas, will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Sariputra, the Bodhisattva, great being, noble Avalokiteshvara, and the entire assembly, as well as the world with its devas, humans, asuras and gandharvas, rejoiced and praised what the Blessed One had said. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, Ya Allah, Ya Qudus. Through the power of your baraka and my contemplation of truth, may my meditation on non-duality and the power of these holy words remove all hindrances and obstacles and bring peace to all. Allahu, 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 Haq. May all harm from shaitan and jinn be removed. Allahu, 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 Haq. May all diseases and possessing spirits be removed. Allahu, 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 Haq. May I be removed from any difficulty. Allahu, 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 Haq. May I attain everything I need on the path. Allahu, 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 Haq. Make sure we're sitting comfortably. And take a few moments to settle your body, speech and mind into the natural state. Bring to mind your feeling and image of your body. This is what we've been feeling all week. As simple as when you look in the mirror. And you're about to meet people. My body. It feels to be real. Doesn't seem to depend on the food I ate. Doesn't seem to be changing. Doesn't seem to depend on the parts. And doesn't seem to depend on my mind. On the contrary, my body seems to affect my mind. If we have a spot, our mind becomes sad. Just feel the sense of how you normally relate to your body. Maybe recall some of the moments where you created negative karma in defending your body, proving it wasn't old. Getting upset because someone spilt something near your body, got your clothes. But somehow the image of your body felt like it had become uglier. Or maybe you had pride, thinking that your body's better looking than someone else's. Or jealousy, that you're comparing your body to other people's. Get the sense that this body is utterly real, and how much time you spend relating to it in delusion. Like, this is your life, right? Protecting your body, improving it, getting it fitter. Making it attractive. This is what everybody does, right? This is normal life. So this thing that we're spending all our time on, it must be more than the word body. There must be a thing that has bodiness that I'm relating to. Must be, must be. I'm spending so much time on this. Must be something there that's more than the word body. When this meditation's over and this class is over, I will go back to relating to this body as real and important. So it must be there. Must be. So in this meditation, Buddha is simply asking us, what is it? What is it that is body, that's not anything else? You can't really point to something else that isn't the body and say the body. We can all agree on that. That's just blatantly obvious. So the body can't be separate. It can't be somewhere else. The body must be where the body seems to be. The parts, or the collection of the parts. Can't be separate. Is there space somewhere else, other than the parts of the body or the collection that we can call the body? It's absurd. So this thing that I'm relating to all the time, that I'm getting angry over, jealous about, proud, it's either the collection of the parts or it's one of the parts that has bodiness. Is it your knee? When you're looking in the mirror at that body, is it your knee? If we removed your knee, and the knee is the body, would you no longer have a body? If the knee is the body, then you could no longer have the body, because the knee is the body. If we removed the knee and put it on the table and presented it to you, would the knee be its own entity? Knee. We know what a knee is. We could give it to someone, present them with our knee, maybe give a knee transplant in the future. We would not be transplanting our body to someone else. Or if we sent our knee in the mail as a joke to a friend, here is my knee. You wouldn't be posting your body that you relate to in the mirror, would you? Whoever opened the mail would recognize this is a knee. We can do the same with the foot, the nails, and any part of the body, the cells, the molecules. the blood, the urine, every single element has its own entity, its own label. Not one of these parts you could present to the Buddha and say, this is the body. This has bodiness about it. If there's some blood on the floor, what about it has bodiness quality in it? It's beyond the name body. It's just an inherent body. Some blood on the floor. There's absolutely nothing there that is a body. Remember the analogy of a crowd, that you are not a crowd. There is no object crowd anywhere. There is no crowdness existing somewhere as something you can give to someone. If you get closer to a lot of people, you don't suddenly become a crowd. If you see yourself as like the individual cells of your body, they don't suddenly produce a bodiness phenomenon. Gathering all the blood together, the kneecaps, the fingers, there's still nothing you can point to that is the body in and of itself that's beyond the name body. Look. Find something. If we agree that none of the parts of the body are the actual body itself, it must be that organizing all these parts together produces an overall form called the body. Must be. But if we gather all people into a crowd, it doesn't produce a phenomenon called crowd that exists other than the name crowd. There's no thing there that is a crowd, existing from its own side, that can affect things with its own will, that creates itself and knows itself. Nothing there, nothing. Having a collection of things that are not a body, that have no bodiness within them, how can they create a thing called the body that you can point to? Because whatever you point to, it's not the body, but is its own entity within itself. And if you look for that entity within itself, like a leg, then that's made up of parts that are not the leg, and so forth. What is it that's the body, existing from its own side, that doesn't depend on the name body or a mere appearance? There is nothing. Recall the image you have again of just looking in the mirror, my body. And recognize that this body does not exist. It's just the sound, my body, labeled onto a collection of things that are not a body. And just an image in your mind of a body, like a rainbow in the sky, but there's no body to be found anywhere. When you recognize the unfindability of the body, this is its emptiness, and rest in the emptiness of an inherently existent body. And feel the peace of that. Bring to mind your knowledge and experience of the awareness of awareness. The sense of knowing. The sense, any sense you have that this is your true self. And whatever appears to arise as the body, is it not just a thought, just an appearance arising in this awareness? Get a feeling that this sense of self has nothing to do with a body, right? It's just awareness. This is who you are, isn't it? Now I want you to jump back to your ignorance of looking in the mirror. You look in the mirror and you're going on a date and you think, I'm looking good. Ignorance. What has this got to do with your current meditation? Is it real? Or are you caught in an illusion? Then jump back to awareness of awareness. There is no body anywhere other than the image in your mind of a body and the word body, the label. And you are awareness. You're not a body, are you? Feel the difference between this and ignorance. Buddha said, because of ignorance, you get angry, jealous, attached. And in awareness of awareness, he said, there's only peace, love, understanding. Other than the appearance of the body, like the appearance of blue in the sky, there is no body, just arising in awareness. So when we open our eyes, we just feel that phenomena are just appearing. And as much as possible, remain in an effortless state as we come out of meditation, of things just appearing. And we take a minute break to go to the toilet. Try not to label anything or use your conceptual mind. Have a sense of the effortlessness of things just appearing. And we'll come back in a minute or so. Thank you. Peace be upon you. I hope you've had a fun week just looking at your body as you normally relate to it. And we'll start to, hopefully, we'll start to develop some cognitive dissonance between how we're living our life and the power slap of the Buddha. You watch the power slap? I don't know if you're... It's the strangest phenomenon possible, but that's what the Buddha's doing. It's like, well, whatever we do, don't become discouraged. Yeah, it's like a gradual path of awakening. Yeah, that's the presentation in the traditions that I've been involved in. It's a gradual path of awakening, so don't get discouraged. The first thing is well, usually we have some experience, actually. We usually have some experience that goes away, and then we have an intellectual understanding, and then we have a chasing after that experience, and then we have an evening out. But basically it just takes time. But sometimes, so generally like in the class, then we're speaking, or I'm speaking from the Buddha position, right? Which is no person. So sometimes it might even sometimes get despondent, or it seems like you're being slapped, and then if you see me, I'll just talk to you as a person. Like, I'm not one of these teachers that will try and smash your stories up. It's like, it's up to you if you want to let go of your dreams. So there is like a gap, isn't there, between our understanding and our experience, and say closing that gap is the spiritual path. And it's like good to monitor ourselves, not every day, like maybe every year, and see, are we getting less angry? Are we getting less jealous? Or are we going more crazy? Are we getting less anxious? And like for something like tonight, you want to look at your lifetime scores. So, what is your, from 0 to 100, what's your lifetime score? How much time have you spent being angry, frustrated, or annoyed? How much time have you spent being anxious? That you've got to say things right, do things right, be right. You're living the right life. Don't anyone get anxious? If they're living the right life. Is this the right life I should be leading? Has it gone away yet? How old you are? It's like, am I leading the right life? And this anxiety, what's that score? 13 out of 100? Like 98. What was it? Just lifetime of anxiety. What's your guilt score? It's like shaming yourself. How much time have you spent doing that? And jealousy. I think maybe before you met the Dharma or something. How much time did you spend at high school comparing yourself to anyone else? Or you just yourself? You are just yourself, totally self-contained, at peace with whatever arose. And so, we're not here to torture you. Maybe some people went into that kind of thing. We're here to tell you that you don't have to live like that. And it's like these teachings or these meditations that we just did are the remedy. How can you get anxiety about a body that doesn't exist? Do you get anxious about, talked to this before, trying to get to the end of the rainbow to get that pot of gold when you see a rainbow? Oh man. Do you get deceived again? Like you were when you're a kid? Oh, maybe it is there. Maybe if I just, does it even still arise? Sometimes the rainbow seems quite close. You think, maybe. You're in the car and you think, maybe if I just drive there. Ever feel like that? I'm guys. You're probably tripping on acid. It's like, there's this really close rainbow. It's like, maybe we can get there. You have no anxiety about it. you're not missing out, right? You don't think, oh, I really wish I could have still believed that rainbows really existed out there, and then maybe I'd have that hope that I could get there. You don't. You just like, oh, no, you wake up. So I know very well that when you're in the state of the deluded self, it feels like you're going to miss out by waking up. Oh, but what about all the stuff I'm into? Yeah, it's all suffering. Yeah. And we do have some joys. Like when we get in closer to the nature, there's some joy there, but it's still contaminated with that ego self, right? So if you just imagine there's no suffering, it's just unlimited joy and this spacious peace. You just understand there's no body there, right? Someone says you're good looking, you go, oh yeah, is that right? And someone says you're bad looking, oh, is that right? You just understand it's their mind, right? So hopefully as well, we'll get getting some practical understanding of like emptiness. The text, I don't know, I'm not that clever. I do remember studying Heart of Wisdom. When I studied Heart of Wisdom with Gen Samton at Manjushu Center, then it'd be like Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock, Heart of Wisdom, go line by line through it. And I remember thinking that the analogy on unproduced space was harder to understand than emptiness. It's like, what's the point in the analogy? And I remember it's like, what's going on? And now as I read it for class, I just understand everything. It's like quite a simple text. I'm not that clever. So if you're wondering if it gets easier, it's like it gets a lot easier. They understand, like the reading understand. It's like, what is he talking about? But I presume, I just presume that you're really intelligent. You don't need me to go line by line. You just read it and understand it, right? It's like quite self-evident. So we like want to get into the experiential side of it too. And one thing that has to be emphasized again and again is that we need to like read these things and study them a lot, and we have Zen mind, beginner's mind. The point about bringing in the ignorant side of it, like Tsongkhapa does, is this disparity between our intellectual understanding and how we actually are. So I say, never get into this habit of going, oh yeah, emptiness, I know that, I don't need to look. We do need to look. And we when we do the meditation, just like as if looking for the first time, it's like, okay, where's my body? And we do this meditation, the Lamrim cycle. If you do the Lamrim cycle, different one every day, then you're meditating. When I did it, I'd do double on emptiness. 2 days, like meditate on the emptiness of the self, meditate on the emptiness of the body, and then go back round. And you just do it again and again and again and again, contemplate again and again and again. If you're with Sangha, and depending on your agreements with each other, then if someone starts going off on one, then you bring them back. Let's go, no, it's just your mind. Yeah, you can't say that to someone normally. You just have to go, oh yeah, Donald Trump's the great liberator of society. Or, yet Donald Trump's a demon. Whoever you're talking to, right? But if you're with Sangha and someone's going, oh, it's just your mind. It doesn't have any of those qualities. You're in a situation where you're in a car and someone's doing something, blah, 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 and, they shouldn't have cut in front of me and they're bad. And it's just your mind. It's empty. Change your view. Just impute that he was a Buddha saving your life. by intervening in your karma, and because you had to put the brakes on, it prevented you from a mile down the road of crashing into something. And then you feel, oh, how wonderful. How wonderful that car driver saved my life. Buddha, arising as a Buddha. Just depends on your view, right? It's empty. It's not. And you get a sense that you can control the narrative of your life. Not in some solipsistic way, but actual correct basis of imputation. And I'd like to talk, first of all, like the Bauhaus. So I remember very clearly, I can't remember the year, probably 86. Probably 86. Here in the Bauhaus for the first time. My brother brought the LP. We used to have really nice 60s stereo. Like the warmth of the sound, I still remember. Like, putting the Bauhaus on. I just remember how dark the music was. Just like, it's so dark. Like it took me a while. There's a couple of tunes that I liked and the others, like, oh, they're so dark. I remember that feeling. I listened to them just the other day. It's just like pop music. Just relative to the context of the music at the time and what I'd heard, it seemed like dark, and it was gothic to other people, and it affected their mind in such a way. Now, if everyone who listens to it now thinks it's pop, when they try and look back on history, they think, oh, they have that interpretation of their mind on history of seeing something that was pop, but it wasn't pop. Same way with all like going talking about racism and stuff like that. I remember like you see these jokes and you go, oh, they were racist. You know, no, they weren't. You had to be there in the context of the time and experiencing it with your consciousness. If you've got a racist consciousness and that's what you view when you look back in history, all you'll see is racism. That's all you'll see, and then that'll be your world. That's how you interpret history. That's how you interpret your future. Racism doesn't even exist. There's no such thing as racism. It's just a mere imputation by the mind. And then you create all this pain and suffering and view, and you're judging people here and judging people there. But that appearance of the Bauhaus as dark and gloomy seemed real. It seemed to exist from its own side. It didn't seem like this is just my consciousness. So, like right now, you can look about your room, and this is just your consciousness. Now, it may seem like the room is existing from its own side, and you have that relationship with your paintings on the wall and the feelings they have, and it seems to exist from its own side. It's just your consciousness. Now, when someone else comes into your room, it may seem that they have a similar thing, and you'd want them to get to understand your taste. But your taste doesn't exist. It's changing like that. And say, just give it a few years, and that same music's like pop music. It's just another appearance arising in the mind. The music's not there from its own side. And forgive me, I mean, I like to come up with hopefully fresh teachings. Well, it's a vast expanse of teachings, but the best example I experienced, you find your own one, was Boris Becker. Because he was like 17, so the age thing was there. But I remember when he won Wimbledon thinking, he just looks so old. And then watching the same footage, not different footage, the same footage, and he's so young. Now, how many of you, when you're looking at someone, you think, oh, he looks quite old, are thinking that that's just an appearance in my mind? He's not old. It's just appearing old. Right at the same time, if I get my future self there and they look at the same image of Boris Becker, he looks old and he looks young. Clearly, he doesn't have an age from his own side. Now, when someone looks attractive to you, what's going on? Does anybody here think that person is attractive from their own side? Put your hand up. Like right now. Surely not right now. No. No. Unless, I mean, you just don't understand what I'm saying at all. Right? But I understand that as soon as you stop talking, you go off to the nail, you'll be chasing rainbows again, right? You'll be chasing your own mind. Doesn't seem that way, does it? When you're a child, it seems like the rainbow's over there. It really does seem like there's a rainbow over there. And you really get confused and chase it. Do we not? Do children not do? They do that, don't they? They chase things that are non-existent. And they can never find it. And they will never, ever, ever find the end of the rainbow. You will never reach the horizon. It's just an appearance from where you are and the shape of the earth. And you move, the horizon will move. Now, if you try and find it, you can write poetry about it. And your epic quest to reach the horizon. You could try and get a club together. We're going to find the... Ah! And someone says, and you get excited, and you're all mates about it. And someone says, there's no horizon. It's like, no, that's boring. That's kind of what we like sometimes with the teaching, isn't it? It's like, oh, don't burst my bubble. There is no horizon you can find or reach. There is no beautiful person there. But it seems like I'm here and things are out there. It's called duality. And that's the cause of all our problems, all our suffering, all our anxiety, all our anguish. So we're moving from where we are, like we're not denying that, but we also need to change our view. So we can be like honest, like Baron and Hakeem were trying to exemplify. It's just an intellectual understanding. But we also we need to apply that view, because we need to be like the child that's going, right, I still think there's a rainbow out there, but their mum and dad are saying, stop chasing it. It's not really there. And you need to watch all the other kids chasing it, and you need to be looking, going, is it really not there? If you've got that view in your mind and you're looking at everyone chasing the rainbow, and you can be running along with them going, does it really move when I move? And if you have just some insight that the rainbow is just, no, it's not there. And then immediately it feels like it is. And if you ignore that knowledge, it won't do you any good. But if you if you use that knowledge to help you with your view, even though the rainbow is appearing, no, I'm not chasing it. I'm going to sit and meditate on how there's no rainbow. Like this, like, kid, no, it's not there. It's just. So we're moving through these views of the different schools. So we're just kind of looking at ourselves and looking when we're ignorant, and there's no judgment. And sometimes we're not ignorant, right? But I wanted to emphasize when we did that meditation how crazy we are, right? Like how often we think we are a body. During this week, did anyone think that they related to themselves as the body? Did anybody not do that? Let's put your hand up if you did not at any point relate to yourself as the body, but you just understood from your meditations, you're just awareness. And the body's just a mere appearance arising in awareness. No. Right? Especially if we're going out on Friday night, right? We're going to a meeting, and then it's like super body. Going on a date, it's like I'm looking good. Yeah, my blood's looking good. Really feeling it. Yeah, my kidneys are looking amazing, man. No, just this appearance in the mirror. That's me. Not even your body, just the appearance in the mirror. It's like a triple delusion. That's me. It's not even you. You don't look like that. You do not look like your photos. Surely you've noticed that with your friends, that they do not look like their photos. They do not look like they are on film. It's because they're not. It's because it's an image of something. It's amazing, right? The state of ignorance. But then you're out on Friday night and you've met someone and they just relate to you as a body. How do you feel? It's a great thing in this current generation with women. I'm not a body. How dare you objectify me? Men objectifying me. You fall in love with me. Anyone ever felt like that? Yeah. You get upset if they just relate to you as a body and treat you like a material object. You think, that's not me. I'm more than a body. I'm a soul. Feelings. And then half an hour later, someone looks at you as attractive and like, oh yeah, I'm a body. Isn't it? Well, which one is it? Or you look at some reflection, you're in the club and there's a reflection of you. There I am, there. We don't know who we are, do we? It's just total confusion. And our meditations and awareness, they're out the window, aren't they? So we can see that we jump. It's like doing meditation. We jump. It's not a linear thing. You might come home from that nightclub and go, fuck it. Samsara sucks. Sick of it. And you do a meditation, just like your awareness. Right? What we're looking for, of course, is stability. But that comes when we get more and more understanding. I'm not the body. It's just an appearance. Does anybody have any questions at the moment? No, any observations about this? Or from your discussions? Okay.
I've just noticed when doing the meditation and we're to look for either the body or the person, um, when it's meant to get to the point where you rest in the unfindability of it, um, I've noticed that I don't know when that point comes because I often don't have a solid sense of unfindability. It just doesn't seem to arrive. Um, yeah, that's something I've noticed quite often in these meditations. Yeah.
Um, the main reason, one of the reasons for that, is that we don't yet fully understand what inherent existence is, and we like how we relate to ourselves. That's why it's very important that we don't deny our experience, because the meditation is literally denying, seeing through our experience. But if you're intellectually relating to yourself as awareness, like, oh, it's Dzogchen, blah, 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 and you're kind of spiritually bypassing, it's difficult to see that that's not true. Like, it's a direct seeing, not an intellectual overlay. Like, that's like getting this balance I'm trying to, which I'm badly putting across, of our direct experience of how we are, our intellectual knowledge, the application of our intellectual knowledge, even though we're not at that level, but we're applying it and maneuvering between these realms. So because if we just completely relate to how we are all the time as we are, we won't change. We'll just be a normal person. So we need the application of the practice. There's this more of this emphasis on the practice in this lineage, on the practice, that if you just go very intellectual, like Krishnamurti and Advaita Vedanta, there's just a conceptual image of yourself as awareness. And you never really negate that sense of your everyday sense of self. It just kind of, it lies underneath like a knot of energy. Yeah, you kind of know you're not getting it. There's loads of people that I got with Muji who just go, like, I get it, but I feel, because it's a conceptual overlay and they're denying their experience. So it's not something that's just black and white, right? But when we're doing the meditation, we are trying to bring our sense of how we normally relate to ourselves in an honest way, what that ignorance is. When we're doing other meditation, like the skipping meditation, we just go, this is what ignorance is. We've done it before when we're meditating on awareness of the mind. So you imagine that you're thinking again, right? And you're lost in it. And you go, this is an ignorant state, and then you come out of it. So it's that contrast between being in a state of awareness that's just observing without the selfness, and knowing what that selfness is, so you feel the difference when it's not there. It can take, and Venerable Geshe says, do not be in a hurry to move past how we relate to ourselves. Like, how we relate to ourselves as this inherently existent person. Don't be in a hurry, and it's hard to grasp. Like, that's the reason I was talking about the body, how sometimes we feel with the body, we're not the body, we're witnessing the body, we're a part of we don't really even know what we're relating to most of the time. And so, from my personal experience, it took ages to get even a sense of unfindability. It was mainly just going through the analysis for years, which is just like very helpful. In my experience, it's only when I got really to the emptiness of the mind. We're going to like Dzogchen, the emptiness of the mind, the emptiness of consciousness, that start to go, the self's not there. But all that work on the self and the body, to go, oh, it's just an image. So, sorry, forgive me for going on too long, but this is the reason why we want to do this, is that when you're watching your mind and you've done these meditations, It's like a knife that goes through. You understand, your conceptual understanding that things are just images become a reality. Like you see directly, things are just appearing in your mind as thoughts and images. And you've done this work and you understand it's just a thought. It's just an image. And that sense of self that you normally relate to, you just go, it's not there. But you're there. There's something that's aware, right? But we can't find that. But it's elusive. It's not like these. You think. I hope that answers your question in some way, and that's helpful to understand. Like these really feed in to our Dzogchen practice. This is what will give us stability and just not going back to the self in the same way. Okay, go.
So at this stage, instead of trying to get it so that you get to the unfindability, rather the placement of that meditation would be the sense of the person that you actually have at present, or the sense of the body.
Yeah, you can stay on that for a while if you want.
Right.
Well, we did it all week. That's what I'm. I'm a body. This is how I am as a body. I'm real, and really get an image of what it feels like. And Buddha's just, the more that stronger that is, like I'm a body, like I'm a body, I'm a body, I'm a body. Like the analogy, like I've got a Ferrari, it's mine. And it'd be like if I just bought you a Ferrari, parked it in your thing for a week, it's yours. I'm going to invite everyone for a party to take photos of you with a Ferrari. And you get up in the morning for the Ferrari party and I take it away and it's not there. It's like, it's going to have more of an impact. It's like that. But I wouldn't say just do that in the meditation, but start with that. Always start with it. Just go, right, how does this person seem to be? And then we go through the process and then bring it back. Just bring it back, that image of person. You've just been through this meditation. It's like, it's not there. It's not real. Yeah. And don't worry if that sense of unfindability doesn't arise. This is not easy.
Yeah, I think I just got the wrong gist this week because I kept trying to find the body, but then also trying to examine why it's not there. I think I'm just doing that extra phase when maybe I shouldn't be. I don't
No,
know.
it's fine. That's fine. No, absolutely fine. So just don't be in a hurry to think you'll have that. It's like, I mean, literally meditate on emptiness for years and like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, not as in not understanding. It's like I just can't get it. But like I never denied my experience. No, I still feel I'm here. Like practice the things, but it's like no. Like if anyone, I'd never try and convert someone. Like I stopped teaching because someone thought I'd taught emptiness really well. It's like no, I don't understand it. So it's just being honest to that experience. It's like I mean, I've got no doubt that Buddha knows more than me. But even so, this is still, I still feel real. You know, Samaya.
Just wanted to put more same ideas. So my unfindability is arising as sensations and recognizing a habituated idea. So I've got kind of aspects of what I think I am being looked at, but it's not an unfindability as such. It's kind of like a analytical. So I just wanted to put that in the pot for that's kind of what's that's where I'm at. It's not like a placement meditation, but it's I can feel I can feel things happening. I can feel my breathing, and I know that I've got images of me looking in the mirror at myself from the previous. So just kind of hanging out with those concepts, really. Does that seem like?
Yeah. Beautiful. I mean, again, from personal experience, it took me a long time to get to grips with my body is not the collection of its parts. A long time. And now it's obvious. It's so it's like a long time understanding what inherent existence means, what something existing from its own side means, its selfness, what that means. And so these analyzing what the parts are and how can a part be the body and all the rest of it, that's just wearing away at ignorance. And in the presentation in Tibetan Buddhism in particular, it's called analytical meditation. It's beautiful. It's like a lot of analytical meditation. So it's just like a lot of conceptual thinking. It's part of the, you're changing your mind and thinking in certain, we're changing our view until we actually find the objects. And we can hope that it's all part of that process. And yeah, don't worry, don't be in a hurry. Yeah, all of it is what we're in. It's all correct. It's called collecting merit. Yeah, you're collecting merit. This is what it means by thinking about this, checking it, analysing, looking. Most people never look. That's we're going through the pages. Venerable Geshe says we have the same view as ordinary people. There's a table, you know. So there's a Zen saying, first there is a mountain. So ordinary people. Then there's no mountain. That's the process of philosophical analysis. That's when you get into the pricks that are called awareness people, Advaita, Vedanta. You know, oh, there's no people, there's just awareness. And then there's mountains. Just a mountain. Yep, it's just imputation by mind, nothing more. But it's a mountain. Yeah. So we're going into the in between phase. So you have to go through that. Like, there's no mountain. Yamchen.
I've been having a bit an experience where with the alas, the silent alas, and we're focusing on the body and then on the chakras. And looking in the Heart of Wisdom book and trying to really focus on the chakra, I've got myself in a bit of a pickle because when I focus on the chakra, the crown chakra seems there, but the third eye chakra seems here. So how could that be in a straight line that goes through that energy channel? And I'm thinking, do I need a diagram to work that out? And then that's just another image. So I'm not anywhere near emptiness because I want an image to figure out what they're trying to say to me. So yeah, I've been having a bit of a, like, how does this all come together so that I can drop it? If you know what I mean, it's like hard to.
Yeah. Don't be in a hurry.
Okay.
Yeah, just relax.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean it does come together, but it's like you're not going to get it together with your mind.
No.
I mean, I've tried. I've tried to just get it all conceptually figured out as a system, and it's like you can't do it. It's just a finger point to the moon. However, observe. Third eye. Central channel. And from there it goes straight down. Yeah?
Okay.
It's here and it curves round with your head down to the third eye. Yeah? Your side channels curve out round like this and then down the center. You understand?
Yes.
It curves round.
Okay. Good. That's better.
Yeah. Some systems you'll see it that it just goes like you go from here to your third eye to up. But that's then just like moving the energy up. But in this system, it goes around with the physiology of the body. Yeah, curves around. Yeah? Does that make sense?
It does.
Good. So it's going through your brain, or almost like round the curve of your brain, inside. Does anybody else have any questions? So we're noticing how crazy we are. That's one of the things we're noticing. Because if you at least intellectually understand this, you understand how we behave totally at odds to it. We really behave like we're a body a lot of the time. And when we look, we know we're not. And then we forget. Yeah. So that's a lack of mindfulness, a lack of alertness. When we're practicing mindfulness, we're talking about tying it in, we're developing that power to remember. So a lot of the meditations, like focusing on Allah, like the Sufis just focus on it, but they're developing the power of mindfulness to stay in that space that they know is true. And not to be deceived by the appearances, not to let your mind slip into object-subject duality to a vast degree, like where it takes over and we're just, again, angry at someone and we think, you're the problem. No, when we're in training, we may think they're the problem, but our mindfulness and alertness and our meditations and our analytical meditation, we can use reasoning to go, that's not true, I know it's not true. And we can change our mind. And the more we can change our mind in the moment, the better. Sometimes we lose ourselves into delusion and we come back to meditation and we analyze it. That's the point of coming in and analyzing what happened. So we're not blindly agreeing with anything. We can reflect on how we, in that moment, saw that person as real and out there and had qualities from their own side that there is no other choice that any other being on this earth could have made but to get angry. Yep. If Thich Nhat Hanh was here, he would have got angry. Just like me. Yep. If Venerable Geshe was here, he would have been attracted to that person just like me. And he'd have been chasing after them, finding happiness, just like me. Yep. Yeah, I remember some Don Juan saying some woman thought she could have power over him. She's got blonde hair. It's just like you get the sense of what a realized mind is like, and then what the unrealized mind is like. So we generally, maybe it's an extreme view, we're like really attached to our body if we're practicing, but we generally think things function, as we talked about. Therefore they exist. And you think, okay, it's nice to meditate, but now I've got to do stuff. Yeah, now I've got to pay the bills. Yeah, now I've got to go back to the real world. Right? Does it not seem to be like that? And without you, things will collapse. And you need to do things to get things done. And you've got your life to live. Does it seem like that? You see how radical what Buddha's proposing is. He's saying that everything you're doing is completely delusional. And you're like, oh, how does it Because we're like, it's like my Lama said, Buddhas are fucked. It's like, they don't have a mind, how are they going to function? And that's like Muji said, you feel like you become a bag lady or something. It's like, you just sit there, like, you don't know how to function. Because it seems like when you realize the truth, you just kind of, there's been nothing there. And the real world is there. So that's like a very strong view. That like we have to kind of move through. But it's still a very high view if you've had experience of awareness. Like most people don't even think like that. It's like things just, they're not even thinking about anything, right? Right. They're just worried about the bills and feeding the kids and all the rest of it. But if you had an experience of awareness, it's like you understand awareness, but you come back out and things function. Therefore it's real and you have to deal with it. And so by presenting that view, like Shantideva's showing us how our mind is working and how we have to move through these stages, going, this is just like a stage of consciousness. And you have to analyze how just because things appear that way, again, they still don't exist that way. And so the next view is everything seems to be awareness. Like awareness is producing the person. Right? Yeah. It's just awareness. It produces people and it has samskaras to work through and it produces everything we're experiencing. Very deep, right? According to the Majjhimaka Prasangikas, wrong. You think awareness is real. So we can see it's not something you can just intellectually decide, and that the views are very deep. And as we go into the deepest view, that everything is just mere name, mere label, I just want to like emphasize the fact that you think you're functioning, but you've never functioned. That's the point. You are an illusion. You get in the way of life flowing. Only Buddhas function. This is the view. And I'll give you an easy understanding because it was very timely. We went to the birthing workshop and going through what happens with the woman's body giving birth. And the body knows everything. It knows to, I can't remember the uterus muscle, knows to practice, to exercise itself, to get ready to give birth. It knows what chemicals to release for the consciousness to love to flow from. It knows everything. So much so you don't even need a doctor there, really. Yeah, you could give birth in a taxi, as some people do. If you just get, the only problem is you. You're thinking you need to do things. So birth, can you think of anything bigger than birth? You don't need to do anything. You just get out the way. Yeah, life functions. You don't. So we have this thing that it's like, if I don't do things, things won't happen. It's like, you've never functioned. You've never existed. There isn't ever. There has never been a time, ever, ever in the history of the universe that there's been a rainbow over there. Ever. There's only an appearance of a rainbow and an observer. There has never been a self who's doing anything. It's just an appearance of one. It never functions. It can't do anything. It doesn't exist like that. There's an ocean of life, and we call that Allah. Well, actually, that's like the manifestation of Allah, you could say. Which kind of brings us to the conventional nature you've been reading. It's like, reading it again, Geshe put some really funny things in there. It really made me laugh. It's ununderstandable. He totally contradicts himself in one of the paragraphs. He says the subtle conventional nature is harder to understand than emptiness. And the only way to understand the subtle conventional nature is to understand emptiness. But you can't understand an emptiness without the understanding of the subtle conventional nature. It's impossible to do. And it just kind of moves on. I'm like, I hadn't noticed it before. It's like there's no starting point. But Ibn Arabi puts it that there's the light, then there's the object, and then there's a shadow play. Our understanding of life is the shadow play. You can't say that it is God, but you can't say it's separate. And the forms of the shadow are not the thing itself, but they're not separate from it. And we can understand there's a play of shadows. And so our dunya, samsara, is like the shadow of God. And so, like, in the Buddhist world, they call it Kunzo Dempa, with my Lama, it says an all false reality. If I know what Geshe says, the obscure, the truth that's obscured. They call it an all false reality. Deceptive reality. People have got cunning in the West and call it conventional truth or relative truth. And many, many people say, oh yeah, right, emptiness, but now it's relatively true, like as if it's really true. It's like an excuse to say, but it's really true. It's relatively true. It's just an agreed upon. It's almost like we all just visualize a unicorn and agree it's there. It's almost like that. And non-existent is when you just got your own unicorn in your mind that no one else is relating to. So everything we're perceiving is our mind, right? Projection of the mind. Yeah. So the colors of the table are not the table. In the table, that's our mind. Yeah, you go into science. It's just color exists in consciousness, not in the table. There's no purple in the atoms. Right? And everything about the table exists in our mind. And everything we're saying, if we call it table, that's just our imputation of the table. When we're relating to Donald Trump, that's our Donald Trump. Yeah. How he looks, how he appears. If he appears old or young, if he appears pleasant, it depends on our conditioning. If we grew up as a Tory or a Labour, or what we think of America or commies, or if we were brought up by socialists, we maybe have an affinity more with Russia and we have a dislike for capitalism, and then he appears as a demon or he appears as pleasant, and we're just relating to our mind. We're just relating to our mind, and it's like a mirror, and we're fighting in the mirror. And when we find someone attractive, it's just our mind. We're relating to our mind. They don't exist anywhere. And we think they're real and out there. And if you follow me, I hope you're getting some sense that when we're meditating on emptiness, it is true compassion. You are understanding, finally, that what you've been suffering for does not exist. And when we're meditating on emptiness, say when we're meditating on emptiness, we have a direct understanding of emptiness. And when we come out of meditation, things appear, like images appear in clouds. They just spontaneously arise. They move and flow. We never think there's an angel in the sky. And then it just goes to an angel, to a demon. It's just phenomena arising. And all you're doing is maintaining that view of emptiness. And allowing phenomena to unfold. When we have a direct realization of the emptiness of our mind, that's liberation. And after that moment, that's the path of seeing, we come to next. After that moment, things appear and we never believe them to be out there. So just as you would see images in clouds, you would never think it's there. You would never think the rainbow is out there. You never think the sky has blue up there. And you hold that recognition. And when we're training, we do that maybe conceptually, which we're going to do. We're training conceptually, and that's based on our experiences and trust. Yeah, trust that there is this ultimate truth. And when someone says, there's a table, or that person's bad, you understand that they're just projecting their mind. And it's just an appearance arising. They don't see that, and they're grasping at it, and it causes all their suffering. So in this state where you're just resting in the emptiness of phenomena is compassion, is vipassana, is shamatha, all in one, that we can't actually divide them, and you're making no effort. Any effort takes you out, and it's just things are as they are. So you can understand why I've been banging on for years. You can't just jump to that or decide it. It is a direct seeing of emptiness, a direct understanding that phenomena are arising out of it. But because you're out of meditation, you can't. Only a Buddha can see the two truths at the same time. You're just letting things be as they are, but it's your coming out of your knowingness, this understanding, and just resting in this seeing, this knowing. And that is true compassion, because your suffering is gone. It's the end of your suffering. That's what we've been seeking for, the end of suffering. That's true compassion. Samaya.
I got struck by the sense of the misguided mind, but also phenomena. So where does another person actually happen in reality? If not in you, so you can say they've just got a wrong view if they're expressing anger, but they themselves are phenomena arising in the observer's mind. So I just got this impression that you're of like a really profound, weird, alone, but not nihilistic alone, but everything's totally gonna disappear continuously. Like, so you could just have an idea of all these people, and you could project or imagine wrong view. They're seeing, they're projecting, but actually they're not. They're only, that whole dialogue's in your head. So there's nothing there at all.
No.
You're basically all on your own in a way.
Yep. That's called, there's another name for that. It's called God. There isn't anything else other than Allah. Allah is alone. Yeah. But if you have any sense of awareness, it's absolute bliss. But that's a concept, our understanding of alone, which is tainted with loneliness, which is tainted with separation. So another name for it is one, or there's just one, or there's unity. As Ibn Arabi would trying to color our consciousness with things that will appeal. Unity. You could say that the one has multifaceted aspects. Like you just got there's one body, but it's all things that are just millions and millions of atoms. But it's, from one point of view, there's just one. Like as an analogy for this understanding of which is beyond any concept of what that aloneness means. But there's nothing outside of the universe. That's what I mean. There's nothing. There's nowhere else. There's no boundary. Because what's beyond that boundary? And then we're into infinity, and the mind cannot get infinity. Because things are infinitely small and infinitely large. You can't measure movement. Measurement of movement is a deception. It's just an imputation that we're measuring movement. Because any movement you make, like a ball, you can half that. And you just can go on and on. It's infinitely small. And it's infinitely large. But just don't tap your head for mind. Just as a thing. If you ever tap anywhere, just tap your heart.
It feels like the head, like mash, but the actual, it's beyond conception, was the feeling of it.
Yeah, but do get into the face. In fact, if you go, my mind. You point out my mind. So we're up 10 past. So let's bring us. I want to get more of the. We can ask questions more. Anytime, people can ask questions. It's like, I'm just presuming you're all really intellectually smart. I say I'm not. I wasn't that smart. I just ask questions every day, all the time. To people, like all the time. It's like, well, what does that mean? What's that? People don't really write and ask questions. I think you just intellectually get it. So it's great. And hopefully by now you understand everything's by request. And I never presume. I always presume that you're getting it and you're smart and things like that. So the fun part for me, this is all fun. My Lama says this is like Buddhist porn. Yeah, it's just like getting into Shanti Deva and the philosophy. It's like, it's just unbelievable. Like the mind of the Buddha, and the way he presents it, you don't exist. How you exist, and it's so radical. But it's like the solution to all your problems. But the ignorant self can get afraid. If you understand what Geshe-la's saying, you don't need to worry about anything. You have the same view as ordinary people. So you're just going about your life. Normally. Like anger may arise, but you're not getting angry. Yeah. So we don't think, I'm going to get angry. There's no anger score. But the energy that we refer to as anger, that energy without the self may arise. And then it'll disappear. And then it'll rise. This is choiceless awareness. Now we're getting it. But you must have the view of emptiness. It's not you. If there's a person, I'm deciding to be choiceless. What the fuck are you talking about? What self are you referring to that is choiceless? And it's like, I'll give you a philosophical question to think. How can the self be impermanent? What self is impermanent? So we're going to get into dream yoga as it came up, and this is it's usually linked to the 6 yogas of Naropa, or the 6 dharmas of Naropa, and we'll do it again there. But it's also a good time because it's basically emptiness practice, but it's fun and it's an easy way to start to get to that understanding. This is your mind. It's not things aren't out there. And it can take a while, say, to have a lucid dream. When you have a lucid dream, you realize you're conscious that you're inside your own mind. It's like when you start to get those experiences, Buddha's teachings start to come more alive. Right? This is consciousness. So we're going to have called like state checks. And you can do it, maybe if you're doing prayer 5 times a day, you can do this. And so there's a little verse that go with it. I'll send it to you, but usually, traditionally people would memorize things, but I think that's gone in this day and age. I don't think people are going to do it anymore. Like traditionally people memorize the Heart Sutra. Yeah. And when I did my classes at the start of the class, after the teaching, you sit there and you recall. Someone sits there with the text and you have to recite to them the Heart Sutra that you've memorized. Or when we do the 7 verses to train the mind, you have to do that, you recite it back. So if you haven't done your homework, you just sit there like a dick. But I don't know, people will do it these days. And hopefully you have noticed, and you have remembered that in the 7-point mind training, we had the ultimate section on ultimate bodhicitta, which was analyze the unborn nature of cognition. Remember that all phenomena are like illusions, like dreams. In subsequent attainment, consider everything as a dream. So it's just a small section. Now we're going deep into that section. Yeah, it's like the Lam Rim. It's like cycles within cycles. So this is the verse that you'd bring to mind as much as you can, though. Sights, sounds, smells, tastes, transportation, housing, and the like. All these appearances do not exist, yet they still appear. They arise from conditions and are impermanent and without self-nature. Like dreams or illusions, they are unreal. Sights, sounds, smells, tastes, transportation, housing, and the like. All these appearances do not exist, yet they still appear. They arise from conditions and are impermanent and without self-nature. Like dreams or illusions, they are unreal. Sights, sounds, smells, tastes, transportation, housing, and the like. All these appearances do not exist, yet they still appear. They arise from conditions and are impermanent and without self-nature. Like dreams or illusions, they are unreal. So say that all the time and analyze. Or you're in the kitchen, go, where's the kitchen? Is the table the kitchen? If I remove the table, all the time. And go, this is my mind. This is a dream. Is it different from a dream? If I was lucid dreaming, what would be the difference? If I wasn't lucid dreaming and I was dreaming, I could check, and the table would appear outside of me and real and solid. I could talk to someone who would have memories. They could give me philosophies on emptiness. In the dream, I could meditate on emptiness to think, oh, I don't have a self. But I'm still ignorant. Yeah, Jen.
Are we able to manipulate the conditions involved in the appearances arising? Because we're creating everything from our mind.
That's the karma, baby. That's the karma.
Oh.
So karma, the definition of karma is movements of the mind in various degrees of intention. So we want to, enlightenment when you're outside of karma. Karma is like everything you're seeing is movements of the mind. And we're just constantly labeling things with our mind, imputing them, and things are arising in our mind. Oh, there's a person, there's a table, And our states of mind arise in dependence on causes and conditions, such as the abuse we had in the past. If we're strongly abused, very strongly there's a low self-esteem or a guilt self that just arises again and again and again. And when we change our mind by doing meditation, by thinking differently, a different self arises. Have you noticed? Has anyone had a self where, oh, I'm a good practitioner? Oh, I feel great. I love the Dharma. You couldn't have that sense of self arising if you'd never done it. You created it. And so it's very important, as you will notice, hopefully, and in connecting to Samaya's question, which comes with the mind, and it's a very instinctive and natural question about compassion and people when we're going into this stuff, because from our perspective it seems nihilistic. There's nihilistic aspects. I really hope and pray that you take very seriously the classes on Saturday and go, this is how Buddhas behave. Yeah? Look at how they behave. They care. They don't just care, they are in you. They see you suffering for no reason. What would you do if you seen your kid walking into the wall because they think there's a room through the wall, and they smack it, they're bleeding? You just go, fuck it. There's no room there. Just fucking leave them. They do everything they can to try and wake you up. They may sit there and smack themselves against the wall too, until you make a connection with them, yeah, and then go, there's nothing there. You go, yes, there is. No, there's not. Believe me. I love you. Stop doing it. We'll stop at the same time, okay? 1, 2, 3, stop. Told you. They understand very well what you're seeing. They understand samsara. They're omniscient. They know your projections. They can see you projecting. They can see you projecting you're a bad person, and then having all these fears and relations and pain, and just mirroring in your mind all this stuff. They can see that. And you just imagine this conscious being has entered into your dream with you. And as soon as you're lucid, they're just there looking at you going, welcome. Welcome to the desert of reality. What is it? Morpheus. It's like the desert of the real. So that's very important to understand. Again, if you go straight to Dzogchen, you'll find these, I call them pricks, but it's a state of our consciousness in which we become nihilistic and we think people don't matter, people don't exist, there's no such thing as people, it's just awareness. Wrong. People exist. They just don't exist the way they appear. And it's all about compassion, and it's all about helping. That's the only reason we're meditating on emptiness, is to free ourselves from suffering so we can help. So we now have the vision to see, to help. And the Bodhisattva action guidelines, this is how to be in the appearances. And depending on your level of realization, then if you're like someone like Sheikh Nazim, they have no time alone. Just constantly surrounded by people and just... And it's just an unbelievable level. But, people have different natures and different things. Some yogis just meditate in a cave. And that's their thing. They see the very different flavors of practice. Like very, very different. Like Zen and Sufi, right? So different. I mean, I'm presuming that you understand that Zen, the word means meditation. So when you say Zen Buddhism, it's meditation Buddhism. So it's emptiness. Buddhism, just this really, and the Heart Sutra is their main thing in Zen. And the training's unbelievably hard. So maybe if you're not in a monastery, it'd be like you'd meet, or you do Zazen meditation, sitting for 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day at home, and then once a month you do 5 days, 8 hours a day, just sitting, just looking, sitting right next to the wall, just sitting, watching your mind. And then they'll do, you do the tea ceremony if you're doing traditional. And all people in Zen, it's unbelievably hard training. There's no dancing, there's no singing. It's just you're just watching your mind. Meditation, Buddhism. Yeah, and the tea thing's all, and it's quite. So it's very sparse, isn't it? Nothing to engage the mind with. You don't listen to music. Don't barely talk to people. You're just trying to stay in that awareness, and making every action conscious. And people get very misguided because someone like Osho will go, right, you're getting too ritualistic around those teapots. Yeah, the point is to be conscious making tea, but you don't have to use that teapot all the time. But they do it as part of the training, but the point is you maybe do it with your bicycle. Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance. In the same way you do the teapot, very conscious. But when you start going into the world of things, you can get distracted quite easily. But it can be very painful to just be in that bare sparseness and nothing else but awareness. So you see somewhere like Muji's ashram, it's like a monastery, it's like a Zen monastery. It's just meditation, right? It's just like that Zen. And you go and just go on YouTube and watch a documentary on Japanese Zen. And then look up the Hadra with Sheikh Nazim. It's a bunch of lunatics just going wild in a circle. Or other Sufi Hadras, and they're like in a big circle, drums and people just going, Allah, like ecstatic, wild, Allah. Right? So it's just Allah. So this is a very different understanding of going into that surrender. Where you're just losing yourself completely into that, the oneness, the energy. So in all the lineages I've trained in, pretty much it's the union, that's Tantra, it's the union of the two wings. So you do all the meditation stuff, but you bring in the Bodhisattva path, which is you bring in the love. So you don't fall into the trap of just being lost in solipsism, in your own, everything is just my mind. My mind. And there's people there who need your help. And love. And then people who get too much on the love, they just get too caught up in understanding it's you that has to awaken. It's not God doesn't do everything. Like you have to do something. You know what I mean? So I got a bit carried away there. Sorry. The dream yoga. So when you go to sleep tonight, we can maybe get into the different sexes another time. But for now, you lie down on your right hand side, stretched out. You just imagine I stood up. And then took me standing and put me down. So you're lying on your side, your right hand side. And with your right ring finger, you block your right nostril. And you go to sleep in this position. And if you have a spiritual guide, your spiritual guide is on your head. If you do not have a spiritual guide, you can visualize Padmasambhava, you can visualize Jesus, the archetype of a spiritual guide. If you want, you can feel that you have a body of light. But generally just lie like this for the first week anyway. And go to sleep in that position. You visualize, just actually at the moment, just bring your awareness to your throat as you do it. Your throat chakra as you fall asleep. After that, you don't need to worry about the position. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, you're not in this position, it doesn't matter, it's okay. It's just for falling asleep. And if you can't fall asleep because you're too conscious, then just move, just relax about it. Don't make it a problem, just slowly, gradually train in it. And make the intention, I am going to wake up in my dream. As you go to sleep, I am going to wake up in my dream. You can pray, do a couple of praises to the Guru. Please bless my mind to help me wake up in the dream. May it be for the benefit of all living beings. And go to sleep. And then see if we can become lucid in the dream. Just beginning the position and the intentionality. The main thing is during the day, as much as possible, you recite that verse or focus on the meaning of that and just go, I'm dreaming. This is a dream. This is like a dream. It's unfindable. It doesn't exist out there. Where is it? Because if I don't exist, if I can't find me, the most fundamental thing that I'm worried about all the time is, can I find anything else? So is there a table other than the label table? You can try it now. If you've got like a table in the room or another object, and you can look at it. Now, if you don't call it a table, what are you looking at? Is it a table? Does the table know it's a table from its own? Does the table know it's a table from its own side? If you don't conceptualize any of the functionings that you label of a table, what are you looking at? If you've got children, you're very fortunate, because we could turn that table upside down, and then it's a boat. And they might say, come on, Mum, get in the boat. If it was a blow-up table, and they sat on and you had enough water, and it was big enough, and you sat, and it'd be a boat. Now, if it had always been a boat, it had just always been like, and they put maybe some cloth on it, like you'd never seen it as anything. You brought someone down who's never seen it before, and they go, oh, that's a nice boat that your children have got. I might get a boat like that for my children. Where's the table? In that person's mind, where is it? So what part of that object has tableness about it from its own side? There's nothing other than the mere appearance of table to our mind and the name table. It's a table because we say it's a table. And everything, and what we're relating to is just images in our mind. It's wild, isn't it? Like compared to how we normally relate to the world. So when you're relating to your mum, when you go out, it's just, you're relating to your own mind. And the Buddha's asking you to actually see them as they are. Like that's the end of suffering, is to see, like, you can have that as a loving goal. I'm actually going to see my mother as she actually is, without my stuff projected onto her. And when you see your mother as she is, you'll see God, and God will look at you. Where's the separation? Then you realize that you never functioned. That's like a takeaway, thinking, oh, I've got to get that right. Because I've got to make tea, I've got to just see how real you feel you are through functioning. Don't worry, we're not denying anything. Remember saying, like, we're not denying anything. Don't like, oh no, I'm seeing things as functioning. I'm crazy. It's like we're totally immersed in it. Don't worry. We want to examine. So you literally can't go wrong, because we just want any experience to arise and just be aware of it. Like this really slow examination of your life. Is what Buddha is saying really real? How are these things appearing to me? What's really happening here? Yeah, really feeling into it. Like that going on at the same time. We're practicing. And like do these verses and do the state checks and do the dream yoga. So like I say, so in conclusion, the homework is to read up to the next profundity, which in my book is on page 72. The meditation on the four profundities of the aggregates of feeling and so forth. Read up to there. To do state checks as much as possible. Being aware as much as possible. Thinking this is empty. This is a dream. Just looking and checking. To go to sleep at night on the right hand side. Block the right nostril. Focus on your throat chakra. If you have a spiritual guide, the spiritual guide is on your crown. If not, an archetype of the spiritual guide. And the intention to awaken in the dream. And if at any point you're getting nihilistic, remember the Bodhisattva vows, and this is all about love and compassion. This is not the way to separate you from someone, it's the way to bring you closer to someone. So you'll have projections of emptiness and practice, and that can make you feel you're getting in the way of being with the person there. So if that's happening, let go of it, and just remember that the purpose of it is to stop my projections and to be with that person as they are. And that's love, right? Is it not? Is love not to accept someone as they are? So don't, if you find yourself doing that, just come back to love. And just let go of the projections. I hope that's understandable. Yeah, and you're going to have fun. Well, I love this. I absolutely love this. I absolutely love dream yoga. It's so much fun. Definitely better than taking drugs. Definitely. And there's no hangover. In fact, you wake up in ecstasy if you've had a lucid dream. It's like ecstasy upon ecstasy. So if you have any more questions, just email me and we'll finish with the dedication. By these virtues and meditations, may I realize the perfection of wisdom. May I deepen into the transcendent beyond and attain union with the Beloved. May all beings be born from the Blessed Mother and awaken as enlightened beings. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So hopefully, God willing, we'll see you on... I got my days because dyslexic. I actually didn't know that Saturday night came after Saturday morning. It's just like... That's how I was organising it around in my head. It's quite an extraordinary thing. So Saturday morning we'll have the Bodhisattva class, and then Saturday night we'll have celebration time where you want to do it all in one. Yeah. The Sufi aspect, the celebration, the dancing, the love, and going crazy. Okay, so hopefully we will be there all together. So much love to you and your families. And think, well, thank you so much for being here.